What's going on there, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I wanted to talk about something really interesting that I've been thinking about over these last couple of days as I've gotten back into Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I really have just thought about the differences and similarities between both this and The Lord of the Rings Online. As you guys already know, I am a Lord of the Rings Online creator, but I do enjoy playing many different other games, Star Wars: The Old Republic being another one of those big MMOs that I've been playing for a long time, and so I wanted to just take a little bit of time and talk about the major differences between the two and just kind of talk about things that I like from both sides. Now, I am just going to preface this video with saying this isn't meant to say that one game is better than the other. I genuinely love both games so much, and it's hard for me to honestly pick which one I enjoy from time to time. There are things about each game that I prefer over the other. And so it's just nice to be able to have two completely different flavors of games, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, but right now let's go ahead and let's dive into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about as a major similarity between the games is both of them are very story focused. Star Wars: The Old Republic has very unique storylines that plays based around each individual class and origin story, each of them focusing on those origin stories, and honestly all of them tell some really strong stories based around those individual classes. Whereas Lord of the Rings Online has a epic volume quest that you go through that doesn't change based on what class you have. It is all just focused around one singular story that no matter what class you play, your story is going to end up all in the same place. The only major difference that you might see is your intro in the class. There is another big difference in how they handle their storytelling. Star Wars: The Old Republic has every single cutscene and interaction with an NPC voice acted, at least throughout their early parts of their days. Some of the later expansions don't have that due to the SAG-AFTRA strike, but I'm not going to get into that. But Lord of the Rings Online has very minimal voice acting, and a lot of the dialogue that is presented is through text boxes and quest dialogue that is written out, and it really just wants to reflect the Tolkien writing rather than trying to reflect a cinematic experience that Star Wars: The Old Republic provides. Now, I honestly love the way that both of these games do their storytelling. There are very unique takes on both things, and they both fit the kind of style of game that they're both trying to figure out. Star Wars: The Old Republic and Star Wars as a universe in general really prides itself on being this cinematic universe that a lot of people will watch the movies or play the games and really get the explosions and the intensity, all of that, and just feel very excited about what's happening. Whereas in The Lord of the Rings, when you read the books, it's a lot more of a slower pace, it's a lot more world building. That's where the focus comes in primarily when you are reading through Tolkien's work in the books, as well as even if you're watching Peter Jackson's movies. There's a lot of time spent in the Shire. There's a lot of time that is spent going through and focusing on world building and the characters, and it's not nearly as cinematic and is more focused around the words that are spoken. And both games handle their storytelling really well. I genuinely like both of them, and each of them provides me a different experience depending on what I'm looking for, and it's always just kind of been a great different experience for me each time that I play each game, and I really love it. The next thing that we're going to talk about in regards to their stark differences is their world design and game design. So this is one of the areas where these two games are going to differ heavily. Lord of the Rings Online takes place in Middle-earth, and as such, Standing Stone Games has done an incredible job at creating a massive, cohesive world that you can travel through with very little load times. In fact, there are creators that will even do events where they walk from the Shire to Mordor, and they don't use a load screen for as much as is physically possible. It is just really cool to see how these creators can just go through and do these kinds of events and create this one massive interlocking and connecting world. Whereas Star Wars: The Old Republic differs in this quite a bit. Star Wars: The Old Republic utilizes various planets that you travel to, each having their own different set of quests and each having their own different world chat, and all being a very differing experience based on the planet that you're in. And again, this is not really something that I prefer one or the other. It works really well for both games. I don't think that Star Wars: The Old Republic is doing anything wrong by having interconnected planets. I actually think that doing obviously interconnected planets is a better option for them because of the fact that in order to capture the grand scheme of how big the Star Wars universe really is, you need to have the various planets across the entire galaxy versus trying to just keep everything condensed into one planet that you expand progressively from there. Whereas in the Lord of the Rings Online, you're in Middle-earth. And so you're taking a lot of time in Middle-earth. You have this one massive map that you can go through and build off of, and that's what both developers have done a great job at doing, is taking the universes that they have and expanding them and building them in a way that fits the narrative and fits their game really, really well. Now, the next thing that I do want to talk about in regards to the two differences between these two games is their leveling, because this is going to be an area where these two games really differentiate. The Lord of the Rings Online is a much more slower-paced leveling experience. There is a lot more questing that is required, a lot more side questing, some other activities you might need to do, such as crafting or missions and skirmishes, things like that, if you really want to try and stay on pace with the level. Whereas in Star Wars: The Old Republic, especially in the modern days, the way that the game has changed most of the time, you don't even need to do any side questing whatsoever if you want to get up to level cap. There are ways that you can go through and do side questing if you want to be over leveled, or if you're just interested in going through and doing different things in the area or in each planet and you really want to explore in each planet. But for the most part, if you're just wanting to build up and get to cap as quickly as possible, following your story is going to level you up the best, and that is just going to be an easy way to do it. You can just follow your main story, and the landscape area is easy enough where it honestly isn't going to be that difficult for you to get through without dying a bunch. This SWTOR gameplay has become really simple and has paved itself to be really accessible for newer players, especially if you're new to the MMO genre, because of this factor, and as well as being given NPC companions really early on in your time in the game. They make a huge difference for how accessible the game can be. Now, again, these are both very stark differences. I managed to get up to level cap in Star Wars: The Old Republic in around 50 to 60 hours, whereas I have my main character in Lord of the Rings Online. I've been playing for over 100 hours, and I'm not even halfway to the level cap. There's just a lot of big differences in this area, and again, it really paves its way for the world that it is trying to create. Star Wars: The Old Republic is a world that is constantly filled with war, turmoil, and strife. There's constant fighting between the Republic and the Sith Empire, between the Jedi. Every single area of the galaxy is constantly in turmoil, and so it's important that the people who are involved quickly and they get ready fast, because they have to be ready to change during all of these major areas and major issues within the galaxy at large. In Tolkien's Middle-earth, especially within the Lord of the Rings Online, there's a lot of slower areas. The world isn't always in dramatic turmoil. The world doesn't always need to have a stop, drop, and save it moment. And so because of that, it doesn't need to be this moment where you're constantly leveling up to try and get to the next big conflict. Sometimes you're just spending time going and talking to your neighbors in the Shire and helping them deliver pies. You know, there's just a lot of small things in that area. Again, both games do what they do very well. Neither game does anything bad. Neither game does anything necessarily in a way that's, I guess, fantastic. Because I think Star Wars: The Old Republic, personally, could slow down a little bit with what they're trying to do and allow you to enjoy the worlds that you have. And I think Lord of the Rings Online could probably do with a little bit of a speed up. It becomes quite a bit of a chore when you're trying to go through some areas, and it requires a ton of side questing just to level up once, especially when you get past level 20. Either way, both games have so many incredible things to offer. They're both very different, but also so similar in the way that they've created a vast world for people to enjoy and be around and continue to build off of. Let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Are you a Star Wars: The Old Republic player? Are you a Lord of the Rings Online player? What are some of your favorite things about both games if you do play both? As always, I do want to give a huge shout out to all of my Ko-Fi supporters. You guys are the ones that help to make this channel possible. If you would like to support on Ko-Fi, you can do so through the link down in the description below. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. And as always, you are loved, you are valued, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and we will see you right back here in the next one. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody.